Everybody, we want to welcome you tonight to Heart to Heart.
Hi, everyone.
And we're looking forward to sharing a little meeting with you tonight. There's been a lot of talk. Every time I go online, they're talking about shunning. And we know this is happening in pretty much every religion, yours worldwide,
Yeah.
Jehovah's Witnesses, the Messianics, the Seventh Day, everyone's shunning you if you don't believe like them. They're giving you the cold shoulder, the dirty looks, or
I think even Mormons. Yeah.
yeah, even Mormons. But I gotta say though, and I'm not prejudiced, but it seems like the witnesses really got the biggest problem with this shunning. I mean, to the degree that they shun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they shun you to death. I mean, there's no communication. There's no nothing. There's no birthday. It's kind of like you with your mother. At least you can have a birthday party. You can have Thanksgiving. Yeah, you might get a dirty look.
When we were in worldwide, though, see, my mom's not. Well, she is kind of, but no, she's not under Armstrong anymore. He's gone bye-bye. So she will, associate with me even though I'm out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it used to be that way for us big time.
Yeah, and that's why I say witnesses are, they're at a level of sickening. I mean, it's just vomiting where witnesses at as far as shunning goes. I wanted to read you guys and a text that I got. It's kind of a text, it's not an email, but let's start it over. Let's start it.
Okay, sounds good, Dan.
So Hey everybody, welcome to Heart with Dan and Angela. And we're looking forward to sharing with you tonight. We've got an interesting topic. We want to talk about shunning. And I don't like shunning. I hate the word shunning. And I don't know why everyone continues to use shunning. It is not shunning what these religions do. It's abandonment. It's 100% abandonment. When you abandon somebody emotionally, when you just, when somebody's walking and you turn the other way, you're not wishing them back. You're in a punishing mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I totally wish that people would start using that word. I was abandoned by Jehovah's Witnesses. I was abandoned by Worldwide. I mean, haven't you felt abandoned by your mother and your father? And
yeah, I mean, especially when I left Worldwide, absolutely. I mean, if you saw, like, again, saw someone in the grocery store, they don't even talk to you. They won't answer the phone call. If you call, they'll hang up on you, all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
abandonment.
It's abandonment.
I hate shunning. It's watered down. It's weak. We're shunning. No, you're not shunning. You're abandoning every way emotionally. You're cutting off from the family. I mean, when you say you're not a part of this family anymore, you're abandoning them. You have pulled out. And I just, the reason I'm a little upset about this was I got a email from Elaine. I don't know if you guys know Elaine on XJW Escape.
Elaine, I think they know her.
Yeah, Elaine. XJW Escape. I mean, she does some really good videos. I don't know if you guys have seen her channel, XJW Escape YouTube. Go on there and subscribe to that. She does a lot of research, doesn't she, Angela?
Yeah, she does.
She digs deep. She's like with a magnifying glass, just watching every move Watchtower makes, every lie they spew out of their mouth. And she just speaks to it head on. She doesn't mince words, does she? Well, she wrote me and Angela the other day. And she's got a fiance now, and her fiance, like most guys, they want to meet the mother and the father, right, of the person they're dating. It's a fiance. They're going to get married, and so it's natural for the guy to say, "Man, can I meet your mom? Can I meet your dad?"
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
They're like, "I want to see who brought you into this world." You're all excited. So he decides, now she's been out 35 years, so. She goes over there. He goes over there, and here's.
I think she didn't even know that he was doing it.
Yeah, I don't think she did.
No.
But here's what she wrote me. She says, "Hey Dan, so yesterday my fiance Bobby, you met him. Me and Angela met him. Great guy, wasn't he?
Really great.
Whole, complete, together,
yeah.
sound.
Really
I mean, grounded, beautiful. And anyways, he decided to introduce himself to my parents, who live 15 miles away.
Oh my
Think
gosh.
about this, guys. 35 years, 15 minutes away. This is disgrace. This is sick. This is sickening. These are sick men, the governing body. So here's what happened. I just hurt me when I read this. But 15 miles away, he showed up unannounced. And he apologized for doing so. He says, "Hey, I'm sorry, but I just had to come over. I just had to meet you guys. I just want to see
your
it."
daughter.
Yeah. He says he was invited in. My parents asked him what his last name was and where he's from, etc. And exchanged pleasantries for less than 5 minutes.
Exchange pleasantries. Right?
Yeah. So it's like, now let's get to the point, right?
Right.
So and then she said her 91-year-old father proceeded to hammer him for 45 minutes about the truth. My father asked, "What did she tell you?" You imagine? Could you imagine this? The guy's going over there. He's heard, they're a little loony. They haven't, they've been out a long time. They've been in the Watchtower a long time. You're probably not, you can imagine, and to see it for yourself, right? So 45 minutes he gets hammered with the truth. We have the truth. My father asked him, "What did she tell you?" accusingly, right?
Right.
Question mark, question marks, question marks. And then Bobby said, basically, Elaine said, she will not adhere to the commandments of men, which is what the Bible said. "Put not your trust in nobles, nor the sons of earthly men whom no salvation belong." Put your trust in God rather than men, right? And so he said, and her trust is only in the Bible. So that's all he said. She's not following the men you follow.
Good. Super simple.
Yeah, and I trust only the Bible.
Good job.
And my father said, "Well, think about this, guys. Well, all she needs to do to get her family back, to get that wonderful family back that's abandoned her for 35 years, it says she needs to get her family back, is to sign a piece of paper and come back, blah, 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 blah," right?
Can I just stop
Yeah,
there?
and then let me just read one thing. Then she said her mother said she knows what she needs to do. She, like that, like she knows what she needs to do. I mean, just bitter and hardened. Go ahead, Angela.
Well, it just comes to my mind about how the scriptures say that if you're not willing to leave father, mother, brother, sister for my sake, then you're not worthy of my kingdom. So, if it's required, I mean, look, she said, "No, I'm not going to follow the dictates of men." And she stands on it. And so they're asking her to literally give her, it's like the brother who gave up his suit and he lost his birthright. Like, "I'm willing to sell my soul just to get my family back. I'm willing to sell what's right, sell the truth, throw it away so I can have my family back. So I can obey these men again." So they didn't get it. They did not get it. His only message to the father was what she just said about not following men. And he's already like pretty much just throwing out what she said and what she stands for and what she believes in and what she's left for, and just saying she needs to straighten up and repent and sign the paper so we can be in a family. Like, that's just selling your soul soul for soup. Honestly,
I'm sorry, it's hate. It's I hate you unless you believe like me. I mean, it's so strong, it's so violent, it's so heartless. But could you imagine the mother? She knows what she needs to do. And the father, and it just really hit me. And it says too, it's been 35 years. 35 years, 15 minutes away. That's a shame. Shame on you, governing body, for this practice of abandoning the family. Me and Angela watched Netflix the other day. It was a show. It was called Escaping Twin Flames University. And if you haven't seen it,
the movie's called is that what it's called?
Escaping Twin Flames.
Is it called Twin Flames University?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Just type in Escaping Twin Flames and it'll pop up on Netflix.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. But anyway, it's. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
The beautiful thing about the movie is you can actually watch the Watchtower in action through the eyes of another cult.
Yes.
This was a massive cult. It started out pretty simple. I just give you a brief on it and you can fill it in.
Yeah, sure.
But basically this group, this guy and this girl get together and they come up with this idea that you can find your twin flame and come into this perfect union, right?
Yeah. Now some people don't even know what a twin flame is.
Yeah, the perfect relationship.
Yeah, it's a perfect, meant from heaven, perfect union with this perfect person who's absolutely meant for you and is perfection, right? Okay.
Right. And so it's set up so they go to these people and they do this little online community. And I won't tell you it all. You can watch it. It's pretty short. It's just 3 little episodes. But anyway, they indoctrinate these people. They start bringing them in. They go, we'll absolutely guarantee that you will find your twin flame once you get these blocks out of you. Once you do these certain things we tell you to do, you're going to find your twin flame because it's out there and it's seeking you just as much as you're seeking it. So the people pay their money, they join the group, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing a whole lot of mirror work. And he tells them how to think when they're doing this mirror work. And so, you know, if you accuse somebody of something, then pretty much you're the one who's got that. That's your
Yeah, it's
problem.
always blame yourself.
Always. Oh,
so I want
man,
to say something
that's
about mirror
awful.
work. Not all mirror work is bad.
No.
You know, there's mirror work where you look in the mirror and you say, I love you. I love you, Dan. I love you. You're a good person. And you look into your eyes and there's some healing. There's some healings with mirror work. But this mirror work was the reverse, wasn't it?
It was.
Because say you had a person you met in the group and they'd say, that is your twin flame. Now, these two guys, this guy and this lady, they were the authority, like governing body.
Husband and wife.
And they go, that is your twin flame right there.
Yeah.
And these people would look at each other, they'd almost cry, and they'd go, okay, yeah, all right, I guess. And it didn't matter if they were male and female, and they would say, that's your twin.
It kind of started out with definitely male and female.
Yeah.
And it went on that way for a good long time. But then when the people were not finding their soulmate, then he decided, just this harebrained idea, okay, we're just going to come up with this crazy idea that says that, well, then you must be a man because you kind of look kind of manly anyway. And so you need to change your name, change your way of looking at yourself, cut your hair, change your clothes, you know, get a name change. And then you're going to be married to her. You know, you're going to be the man now, and you guys are meant to be together. And then they would have to obediently make all these changes, change their name, cut their hair. This one gal even got a beard. I swear she looked like absolutely.
They cut off her breasts.
Cut off her breast, both of her breasts, and then she, you know, did obediently everything that was told. But that girl actually ended up saying no to all of it and went home finally after years. They all cut their parents off, absolutely cut them off. No communication whatsoever.
Yeah, they're like, there's nobody questioning our authority, right?
Oh yeah,
and you've invested this money. Some of them invested 20 grand.
Yeah,
you know, and these were younger people that really wanted to find their twin flames, and
it's like they were doing a lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
And then
they were spending money on classes and coaching and all.
Yeah,
that.
I'm sorry, I was meaning that the parents then did lawsuits. Were they trying to do lawsuits?
So.
It went both ways. Then he did lawsuits against them for defamation of character, but then he was defaming their character. Then they're back on him, and so. I don't know, you guys. It's kind of like so far at the end of the whole show, it was kind of like that they couldn't really manage to sue the guy. I don't know why. It seems really obvious. They did a great job putting together this movie. Or I guess, is it a movie?
Well, I'll tell you why. It was because it was free will. And that's what the Farmington police said in Michigan. Are they doing it under free will? Are people Jehovah's Witnesses other free will? Then we can't stop them. It's freedom of worship. It's freedom of, you know, if you want to join this tribe. So they couldn't really find out anything criminal. But these guys got heavily involved. And what was interesting, what me and Angela were enjoying, was that the people were being mind-effed. You know what I mean? They were told left is right, right is left. When they were told, okay, my twin flame is left me. And they go, no, do your mirror work. You are bad. Go in the mirror and say, I have failed and I will not fail. I will seek my twin flame. And they had to keep putting it on themselves. So these people are crying.
Oh man.
These people are saying, no.
Oh.
And they're saying, okay, I got it now. I got it. I'm going after him. So this guy's like, hey, I'm not your twin flame. I'm putting a restraining order on you. They called the cops on her, cuffed her up, took her to jail.
Well, because didn't she went to a bar for her birthday? Is that the same girl? So she decided on her birthday she's going to go to a certain bar. Just so happens he was there that night. So he called the police and they arrested her, took her to jail for stalking and for not obeying the restraining order. She didn't know that he was going to the bar that night. That's stupid. But the cops just obeyed him. And, you know, yeah, she's disobeying a restraining order. Well, how was she to know that he was going to go to that bar that night? You know, that was her birthday.
Right.
So I don't know. He was giving her a hard time saying liar, you know, to her.
Well, I don't blame him, because the truth of it is she had been after him. She would not let up. She kept seeking him. And every time she went to the cult leaders said, get your ass back there and work harder. get out there, get more hours in service, do more of this, you know what I'm saying? Like the witnesses, we're the boss, go back, that is your twin flame. And they couldn't say no. So it was weird watching the psychological.
That is for sure, because you know what the thing is that when she did then go to the bar and then get arrested, didn't she get in trouble from them? Am I mistaken? They got mad and called her a liar and all this. Okay, well here's the deal. Here's the sick part of it. He told her to seek this guy out no matter what. She kept on obeying until the point that he had to do a restraining order against her. So then she goes to the bar, probably trying to obey them, to seek him out, right? Secretly trying to be obedient to their demands that he is your twin flames and you will find a way. And so she's being obedient. And then he calls her a liar for did you purposely go there? And no, absolutely not. It's my birthday and I went there. Liar. I think that's how that went, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and it was effing liar.
Oh,
it was abusive.
I think that was a situation where they called her a liar. So it's like, okay, go, don't go. Now you're a liar because it's like, but you told me to pursue at all costs, no matter what restraining or whatever is going on. He is my twin flame, and I must never quit. And so, whose fault is it really? But see, then they're calling her the liar, an effing liar.
Oh yeah. And there's nowhere to go. All you had to do is go back and look in the mirror and tell yourself you were a failure, and then get back on the ball of chasing this man or woman that don't want anything to do with you, that's left. Even one of them, I think, was in another relationship and pregnant. And they're like, no, that is your twin flame. Get back and get that, and the people are like, no. And so it was this crazy cultic movie.
No
and
kidding.
they didn't look that crazy. I mean, the guy would clean up and he'd look really good, and you know what I mean, the girl would look decent.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were just sitting there in two little chairs like governing body, just telling them over and over, against their will, against their own common sense, against their own inner GPS,
right?
Just like what's happening in Watchtower.
And then he made them all work for him. They all had counseling jobs, so they were all given jobs within the university. And then they're paid for their counseling that they did, but they were paid very meager.
And then they had to give 50%.
And then he said, I want 50%. You guys are making big money off me. And so I want you to give me 50% of everything. They were already barely making it. And then he, like Dan said in the beginning, he made them have to pay for this course and this coaching thing.
6,000, 3,000, 5,000.
I mean, they have to rack up all their credit cards. They're just young. These are young people. They weren't like, most of them were not but 30 or less.
And the two people that were there were buying, Versace and fancy purses and fancy cars. I mean, like Ferraris, and living in a mansion, a big old mansion. And, it was crazy, but it's identical to Watchtower, except Watchtowers, the people are a little slower, because they work for free. We worked for free when we were in there. We thought we were working for Jehovah, And anyway, it's just amazing. I was glad I watched it, because what it will do when you watch it is you will see the same similarities that are going on in Watchtowers, denying the reality, saying the end's going to come, and then having governing body come in and say, the light got brighter, and that happening over and over to where you don't trust yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just thinking today, how much BS can the Watchtower, the witnesses, take in? How far can they go? It seems like, that most of them should have waken up already. I mean, to be told this over and over and over and over, we're in the last days, you know what I mean? It's 1975 is when I was heavily in, the generation prophecy, the overlapping. And here we are in 2023, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this today. I was thinking about what a conversation would be like with governing body, the head guys. I was thinking, what would a conversation be like? Yeah, like who are we going to get to go out there? Who do you want to get? Bobby, to go out there and tell them it's the end again. Who do you want to get? Now, who would you get? I just want to ask you guys, who would you get if you had to pick a guy? To say, we're in the last days again. I know who I'd pick. Stephen Lett. I mean, he's like, the Gomer Pyle. He's like he's brainless. He's amoral. you know, he doesn't have a brain, he doesn't have a heart, he doesn't care.
Now Gomer Pyle did it.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
But you know, could you imagine sitting together and saying, well, ask Stephen, he'll do anything, right? And so Stephen walks in the room, right? And you say, Stephen, and he's like, yeah, you know, and you say, Jehovah's got an assignment for you, Stephen. You know? And Stephen was, okay, I'll do it. You know, and he's, by God, you know, he says, well, just figure out what you're going to say and go out there and tell him it's the end again. You know, go tell him, just make up something. You know, I mean, what do you say when you said it so many times you don't know what to say?
Right.
So we know what he said, right? They ask him. So you imagine, and I was thinking about this when I was thinking about this thing we were doing here. And I was thinking, you know, the governing body, right? The higher ups are watching him, right? As he comes out on stage, you know, they're in the box office, you know, saying, holy shit, is he going to do it? Is he going to go out there and tell him it's the end again? You know, and here comes Stephen Lett. And can you imagine the people in the audience that may not have seen him before?
Oh.
I mean, could you imagine your first time seeing Stephen Lett? And you'd say, Jesus, that's a governing body member? You know, that's somebody that's been, you know, watching over us, and you haven't heard him talk yet, you know, because he can quickly go into a third grade mentality in storytelling. You know what I mean? He can go into a third grade instantly.
Talking.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He can drop down into baby talk within
yeah,
seconds.
Yeah. And people like me are like, oh my God.
Yeah. So he goes out there, and I'm just picturing now. I'm picturing this. Picture this. Picture governing body, you know, the big boys, you know, up in the box seats going, oh, here he comes. Holy, oh, gee, you could have did better than that. Bobby, he said he'd do it, so we'll let him do it, you know.
Oh
so
God.
He goes out there in the convention, you know,
and
then he goes, you know, we're in the last part of the final part of the last part of the final part of the last part of the final part of the last fucking days. I mean, can you imagine? And then the governing body's like, he did it. Shit, he did it. You know, and then they're looking over at the people, you know.
Do you think they bought it? Do you think they
yeah,
bought it?
They're watching the people, and the people go, you know, they don't know what they saw. You know, it's like this movie, right? It's like this movie. I guess he's telling the right shit. I guess he's saying the right thing.
It feels like he's kind of saying it so slowly that it's hypnotic. I swear.
Yeah.
I wonder if it is.
Well, he didn't know what he was saying. It was in his head.
I think it's hypnotic. Somehow it's something hypnotic.
We're in the last part of the final,
So
you know, and they're going, and imagine they're looking at each other. You know, I think I would have said, shit, you couldn't have did better than that, John. Jeez, you sent him out there, Jesus Christ. Oh, geez, okay, let's see what happens. So all of a sudden they're watching the people, and the people are kind of, you know, starting to nod, right? You know, the witnesses.
It's like, is everybody nodding? Okay, yeah, they are a little bit anyway. Okay, I guess I'll nod too.
They're all looking at each other and going, yeah. Amen. We're there.
Are you clapping? Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, all right. I guess I
But
will.
I mean, what a scene, huh? Could you imagine? I mean, I think I would have been embarrassed, but what can you say when there's nothing more to say? There's nothing more to say. You can't say any more last days. You've said it too many times. You said it for over 100 years. You know what I mean? And just think about this. This is what's so sad. So you come to the assembly for that. You know what I mean? You come to the assembly and you got Stephen up there. He doesn't know where he's at. He's up on stage. He's babbling. You know what I mean?
You know, that's the thing about that movie that was kind of interesting, is that he would like pick this couple. And then he would say, okay, I'm going to make you somebody really important in this company. And I'm going to pay for you to have all these classes. I'm going to send you down here to our main, you know, whatever. And we're going to pay for your hotels, and we're going to pay for everything. But in trade, we just want you to get up here on the stage with your new guy. And we want you to really, really put on the airs that this is just the greatest thing since, you know, whatever, you know, greatest thing since what, Dan? Since spilled milk or something. Anyway. And
chocolate milk.
It's the greatest thing ever. So they do, because they feel obligated. They get spoiled rotten, and then they've got another job. So it's like, isn't it great? And you could just tell so many times that they were like just crying, like, oh my God, you know, I really don't like this guy, but he's already paid for my hotel. He's paid for all these classes, and I owe him. And so I'm going to have to just, you know, suck it up and be thankful. And I'm just so thankful, she said, and she's crying tears, like, oh my God, I don't believe I'm saying this. She can't stand the guy. And like, I'm just so grateful. These guys are just, you know, and just trying really hard to like the situation.
The faces are worth $1 million.
They really
the faces are like, you know,
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah, yeah. It's like Watchtower.
Even the wife of the main leader, the husband,
Yeah.
she so many times seemed so disingenuous and so upset and bothered. And then other times she was fine. You just never, I think it was because she had so much money. She'd get the fanciest outfit, the fanciest coats, the fanciest purses, fanciest cars, and that brought her some joy. But other than that, I think a lot of the time she was very, very unhappy. The main
Oh yeah.
leader's wife,
Oh yeah.
she really looked it to me. But the biggest thing was is that there were this couple up on the stage. The reason why the girl's crying is because she knows good and well that she's being used to manipulate these people out there on the screen. They had some crazy amount of people, like 30,000, some crazy amount of people that were following them. So she'd be up on the screen, with them on the stage, convincing them and tricking them and lying to them to get them to stay on, to believe, okay, all right, so if they're doing it and they're falling in love and they're happy and this has happened, okay, it's going to happen for us too. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. These relationships that were really odd, and anyway, it caused a lot of mental illness. Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's really what the bottom line was, because people were getting fucked with in their mind. They were being mind fucked, and in the end, that was the one of the main girls who were being used to force these people to be married, because okay, the wife, she channeled, so they were being told that God was telling her, and then he was commanding, and then the husband was commanding, obeying God, the two of them, that this is the relationship God wants you for you, and this is what we channel, and so you have to obey. So they were being mind fucked to death because they felt that this was really God that was speaking through this woman, channeling all this stuff, and they were just trying so hard to obey, but they were so young, you guys. And so I mean, look, it could happen to anybody, because you want to, it's groupthink, right? Everybody else is doing it. Everybody else in the whole screen here of thousands and thousands and thousands of faces.
Yeah, they had them on Zoom, so you could see all the people. So when they started lecturing a person, when they said, Dan, come up and tell us about your twin flame with Angela, all these other people were watching. So you were like codependent, right? You were like, oh, we're doing great. It's been wonderful. And they even asked the people when they were traveling, these cult people would pay for their trip, like you say, to the hotel, and they'd say, take pictures along the way, take pictures of yourself with your suitcase, take pictures when you first see each other, take pictures of the hotel room, take pictures. Whatever. They would make it last.
And then you would have to then get those pictures to them so that they could show everybody how you're falling in love, so that everybody's like, oh yeah,
I'm gonna find mine.
You're gonna get married. Oh yeah. And they were sucking it. Okay, it's gonna happen for me. If I'm following God, they're following God. It's working for them. It's gonna work for me too. I just gotta keep obeying. I gotta keep doing my mirror work. The reason why it's not working is because it's me. I'm the problem. See, you guys, it was so messed up.
Yes, and I want to say one more thing. Near kind of the end, the guy did a picture of himself with a side view, and he did a picture of what he perceived Jesus to be as a side view.
That's right.
And he says, I'm Jesus.
Yes,
I'm Christ.
Oh my God, yes, that's right.
And so they were, it was kind of a joke, kind of like Watchtower does, right? But they kind of downplayed a little bit. They would say, well, God said, but he was portraying that.
Well, then she even said, she says, oh, I guess I'm screwing Christ or something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
oh my God.
I'm screwing the Christ. It's like, oh, it was so sick. But she's the one who channeled it. See, she channeled that he was Jesus. So then he starts to, well, I do look like him. Well, look here. There's a picture out there in the internet that shows it's Jesus, and it looks just like me. Inside of you, yep, it's me. Yep, I'm Jesus. I'm Jesus.
Yeah. So every time they met, there was a channeled message waiting for him, right? For the people. God said, this is your twin flame. And like I said, the guy would go home and say, okay, I guess I'm a girl. Or the girl would go home and say, I guess I'm a guy. And one of them had to choose a particular gender, right?
Right. Well,
when they were in the relationship.
No, they had to
they chose it
for you. And then you guys, one other thing is that then they decided to buy up a big, huge chunk of land. Ooh. And some big building, I think, in Michigan. And everybody was being told that they need to, that they should move there. And basically they would be more controlled, more controllable. They would set up their little mobile homes on the property, and then they would all work there and have everything common, right, on the same property. So again, more control. more like a compound. It sounded more like a Jim Jones all over again, honestly. And so in the beginning, I thought I understood that they were going to be sharing with us some sex trafficking stuff going on there, but then it never came out. So I don't know what happened there, or is it not true? Or but it so far that has not come out yet. But messing with people's genders, you guys, we're not talking just a few, we're talking a whole bunch, because at first you can marry somebody outside of the group that could be your twin flame, but then he changed the rules over the years and said, now the group is so big, you have to marry somebody within the group. So the person might even be in India, and they pair you. It's like arranged marriage.
Yep.
And it's sick. And they can't seem to catch these people, and they are millions. I don't know, not millions strong. I feel like they are, but at least 30,000-ish strong or more. And so this is not a teeny tiny cult, guys.
And it's still going.
Yes,
it's still active. Going. It's not shut down. It's very similar to Watchtower.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to say too. I was thinking about this today. I thought, how did Watchtower get this kind of authority?
I don't know.
And part of it was they did the same thing with this kid. And instead of saying we're Jesus Christ, which his kid said, right, in the little movie, Watchtower says we're the faithful and discreet slave who Jehovah has appointed over all his belongings.
And we trust that.
That's the highest stature you can get. That is a medium. That is a channeler. And I know I've said that before. The reason I can say that they're a channeler, and I know I've gotten criticism that when I say, oh, they're a channeler, but who's the only one who can feed you as witnesses? Do you feed governing body? Do you call up, Tony Morris or Stephen Lett? I know Tony's gone, but do you call up Stephen Lett and say, hey, I got an insight I want to share with you on the Bible?
No,
you don't do that. It's one way. Why? Why is it one way? Why is it Jehovah governing body you? It's because they're the medium.
No, is it the same thing that faithful and discreet slave is the governing body? Is that how
yeah.
It is? Oh, I never really.
They're to give your food at the proper time. It stops in the middle right there. So it comes from Jehovah in the meeting, and then it goes from governing body, the mastermind, into the organization. But it's interesting because they mind screw the people too.
Oh yeah.
Because I've heard them say we're not spirit anointed. We're not spirit anointed.
In the Australian Commission.
Yeah.
Right.
And yet they say, Stephen Lett again, you better tell them, their life depends on listening to us. He said, you better listen to us like your life depends on it, because it does. And so these men are playing God.
They are.
They've got the God status. Don't tell me they don't.
Amen.
You do not preach to governing body. You are obedient slaves.
Absolutely.
You are.
And they've even come up with that saying, you're good for nothing slaves. Good for nothing.
That's right.
How I get mad about that, you guys. That's insane. No one should say that to you. You should never allow anybody at your workplace or anyone in this world to ever say you're a good for nothing slave, but yet you allow your leaders to call you that. What the? I'm just saying,
you're
guys.
You're subservient. You're obedient. You obey. You hang on every word, every lie.
That's wrong.
And you're like abusive children.
You're abusive children.
You're abused.
Absolutely.
You're in a codependent relationship with governing body, and you're abused.
Find out what codependency is.
Yeah, and you've been lied to, and you've been lied again, and you've been manipulated, and you've been conned, and you're being conned out of your property. You're being conned out of your money. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And
yes, absolutely.
And this is going on and on. But and so I thought, how do they get away with it? They're God's only ones. They're the special ones. They're the Jim Jones.
Escaping the twin flames. I mean, the guy was getting your money, and then he's getting more money, and then now it's $6,000 in payments of $699 or whatever a month.
Oh yeah.
And and these poor kids, my God. And then they had to give their lives to start working for them to make a living, and now they have to move to his property and serve him there. And I mean, you guys, it's slavery.
It's slavery. And it's the same thing. There was a lot of yelling going on.
Oh man,
with the guy, he was
abuse.
cussing at him.
Yes,
it's the same way with governing body. You start thinking for yourself. You start thinking, wow, they just handed me a new book. They said the end was going to come in 75, and they said, well, we got more light here. And then the generation prophecy comes, and you're like, boy, you're all excited, right? It's going to happen in this 70 or 80 year generation. And you go to the assembly and say, we got a new book for you. We got more light. Jehovah's giving more light. And this book thing just goes on and on. And you know what you've got to do? In order to survive, you have to eat the bullshit. You have to deny reality. Meaning, when you know, you've been living in this expectation of 75, it's going to be over. You know, they had clocks on the watchtower. It's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. Warning, warning. And then wham, it goes past. We didn't say nothing. We didn't say anything. What are you guys talking about? You must be from California. You're those guys out there, wild, wild west. You know,
this is an elder that was talking to us like this.
Yeah,
just lying his ass off.
Oh yeah, and so the generation prophecy comes again, and you're going through the Revelation book a couple times, and you're saying this is it. This is the 70 or 80 years when we saw the beginning of the pangs of distress, and you're going yeah, and another book, and you go, what is Jehovah doing? Why is Jehovah giving us crumbs? Why is he telling us it's true today and not true today? Why are they telling me it's true and it's false, but it's true? It's true, but we're going to give you more light. It wasn't that it was false or the light went out, but it's true, and it's even truer now. And it's not truer now. It's absolute lying. It's absolute mind control.
And then they get everybody down line to repeat the same things that they're telling them. So everybody's repeating it. All the elders repeat this stuff. They go back, regurgitate it in the different meetings. And same with this escaping twin flames cult. Same exact thing. They're told to okay, this is what you're going to say. You're going to call each of these people up, and you're going to tell all these 12 people on this list that they are to be together. And so you are beginning to make changes, your name, your hair, your outfit, you're to be married, and you're to obey. And so this girl, she'd give them a really hard time. If they would argue, she'd tell them they have to do mirror work. She was abusive to them. She's a sweet girl, beautiful, also married to somebody that she didn't like. But anyway, in the end, it was all like, I have to do it. Because if I don't do it, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to get kicked out of here. And anybody got kicked out of there, they would publicly put all through Zoom to all the thousands of people that are on the Zoom that this person has basically, for all intents and purposes, has been disfellowshipped. Okay. And they are bad. And you just lambaste that you want to have basically stay away from this person.
Yeah. They even said, I thought more of you. You're a failure. That's what that guy said to her. And she goes, what? You're a failure. You're a failure to me right now. Go back and do your mirror work and tell yourself you're an idiot and get back on board and go back after this guy that's not with you. And
right. So they're all afraid. Everybody's afraid to get yelled at. They kept saying that we just don't want to get yelled at. We know what will become of us if we should argue or complain and so everybody was kowtowing to this. I can't believe everybody was following, but it went from good to worse, more worse, and to disaster, to horrible abuse. It just kept escalating. You guys, what's next? The Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
It's duh.
Isn't it amazing that this still goes on today? In an enlightened world,
yes.
meaning there's lots of information, there's lots of, when I read that from Elaine, that father was 91 years old, I thought,
oh, man,
how many false prophecies has he been through, and his wife? No, how many has he had to cram down, shove down, and go there with open eyes and all excited at the assembly? This is it. Only be told we have another book for you. We got another channeled piece of literature that we heard specifically from Jehovah.
Do they still have literature coming out, Dan?
Yeah.
It's just digital now, right?
No, they have some, I think some books. Yeah. Okay. Tracts and brochures but what makes a channeler or a medium is somebody that has a greater connection than you do. The only supposedly the only reason a person goes to a spirit medium or a challenge or a sorcerer or something like that, channeler, is because they're assuming that they have a better connection and that they can see, what the person's potential is in the future. And so you go to them because they have a better God connection or a better spirit connection or source. They're connected to source.
Right.
That's why they're called sorcerers. So Watchtower says they're the source. They're the source of your supply. They're the source of the supply of the Watchtower. They said we're over all. Now think about that. We're over all of God's belongings. God has entrusted us men with all of his belongings. I mean, that is a high stake.
And again, tell the world it's not a Jehovah's Witness, what his belongings mean.
Yeah, all of his truths, all of his understanding, what's going to happen in the future, right? We're in the Great Tribulation. This is going to happen. Now they're telling them this is the final message, right? I think that's the newest one. This is the final, the last of the final, the last of the final, last of the message. And so that's what they're telling everybody now. This is the judgment message that you got to go out with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, Dan, it says that the person who controls the press controls the world. Well, Worldwide Church of God, when I was going to it, was the second largest press in the whole world. And it was very, very large. I couldn't even believe it. I think it was 3 stories high. My daddy had to climb up and put on the new rolls of paper and ink. And it was big, humongous drums of ink. I mean, huge, huge, huge. Oh my gosh. Anyway, very large. Now this guy in the Escaping the Twin Flames University, he had a very good ability to do great media presence, great wording. Oh, he was a marketing master guru. Absolutely. That is why he did good. Maybe his wife, maybe the two of them together, I'm not sure, but together at least, they were very good at media, to say just the right words, to suck you in, and just the right everything. I mean, they were great creators. And because they kept getting more wealthy with the money they were charging these people, they were buying all these things and looking rich and looking like they had their life together. So everybody wanted to follow these rich people who were obviously doing everything right in life, and they're in love with each other. And so they're the perfect example. And they bought into it because they wanted everything they had. They wanted their relationship. They wanted their wealth. They wanted their creativity. They wanted power. They wanted their authority. I mean, these guys just took advantage, and it got worse and worse. The more money they got, the more evil and despicable they became in the way they treated these people. Anyway.
And that's what we're watching happen with Watchtower.
Yes.
They're getting more despicable. They don't care if they lie. You know what's sad? What's sad is a liar. But what's even worse is somebody who believes their own lie. And then what's even worse is somebody that demands you to believe their own lie. Think about that. There's a liar, which is governing body, right? And then they believe their own lie, which makes them doubly bad. And that makes it almost criminal and crazy and insanity, is they demand that you believe their lie, that they believe in.
When they know that they're lying.
That is sick. That's why the Watchtower is toxic. It's toxic. Could you imagine Elaine hearing that? Like, ugh. You know what I mean? Tell her this, if she wants our love, she wants to get back with us. Here's, you imagine her going, oh, no, I don't want that anymore.
Well, like when that guy on the Twin Flames thing was beginning to introduce the idea that, if we say that you're really not a woman, that you're a man, then you're a man. You're a male in this, and you are a male. Truth be told, you just didn't know it. But we're telling you from God, you're a male. Well, I could see that guy. He was he kept his face like this, right? And I could just see out of the corner of his eye, you could see that he knew that he was lying.
Oh yeah.
And my soul.
Yeah, they got live footage of him. This is like real footage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, tons of it. You can see him. He caught red-handed, but you can see the lot. You can see the look of that he's lying. And why the people aren't picking it up, I'm not really quite sure, but I think it's because everybody else was believing it. And so I could just see the look like, are they believing it? Like Stephen Lent,
oh, yeah.
Are they believing it? Or do they, I think I've tricked them. It's like this look like, okay, yeah, I think they're buying it. Like that.
Yeah.
And that was the guy and his wife. They look like super hot, like powerful, rich, super perfect makeup, super, tie authority. They put on their authority clothes.
Yeah.
And then they looked, face to face talking so that you couldn't see the eyes, but he was so lying, making this crap up just because he wants to make money. See, because he couldn't find the right twin flame for each of these people. So he decided that since we can't find it, then I'm going to make it up that you're just the wrong gender.
We're just going to make it up.
We're going to make it up just to make the freaking money. That makes me really mad.
That's what Watchtower is doing right now. They're just making it up. That's why, like I said, Stephen Lett. Could you imagine you go out after the meeting with your friend and you say, well, what'd you think of Stephen Lett? Give me another beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh boy. Well, he made a lot of sense. Stephen Lett made a lot of sense. What do you think? Well, yeah, he made sense. Yeah, he made sense. I mean, eventually, guys, no joke, but eventually when you deny your own reality, when you deny the reality that is reality, right? You have an inner GPS. We have a core that says that's BS, right? It's like if somebody sold you something, or an investment, and it didn't mature, and somebody kept saying it's going to mature,
It's gonna mature, yeah.
and you've lost pretty much all of your money, and you've lost all your money, and they tell you, well, invest in this. Your BS meter would go off, right? Your inner
Right,
GPS
right.
would say no, I'm not going to invest. That's not the right thing to do. But
Right.
see, when you're in Watchtower, you don't get to listen to your BS meter. That's trusting your heart, right? That heart's
Right.
treacherous and desperate. And so you don't get to use your mind either.
Yeah.
You just follow it and are obedient. Well, what happens is eventually when that inner GPS that tries to warn you, that tries to say that's a lie, when that's shut off, you have no more compasses. You're halfway insane.
It's almost
I'm
like
sorry.
I'm
I don't mean to laugh, but I'm just saying you're partially insane
No, it's true.
because there's a part of you that don't have a dial, like Stephen Lett. You don't know what you're doing. I don't know. I laugh, but
And actually, it's completely, totally not funny, because Dan and I have both been in that place where literally, I'm just going to put it. Just,
and the people in the show were in that place where they didn't know where they were
yeah.
coming or
They
going.
lost their compass.
They had lost their
They did.
compasses because they gave their whole mind over to listening to every word
To the
this
lie.
guy and this woman said, just like we do a governing body. We were hanging on every word, what they're going to tell us.
Like who's that one psychologist who's the people of the lie, right? It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
if Scott Impact. So if you believe the lies, then guys, I want to tell you, this is my experience and Dan's experience, that you begin to lose a little bit of common sense and wisdom. And the more you follow that path of lies and agree with it, when your compass is trying really hard to tell you no, and you go against that inner GPS, then you become, I'm just going to be real frank with you, plain stupid. Because that's what happened to me. That's what happened to Dan. We lost our common sense.
I always tell people it took 10 years for me to start thinking again. And a lady told me, she says, Dan, how come you can't think out simple problems?
Yes.
And I until today, I've said, well, I've never used my brain for 40 years. You know what I mean? I just followed. I was just obedient.
Yeah.
I didn't have to think.
Well, I got in the cult with my ex-husband, which was not the Worldwide Church of God. But that was when I was about 40-ish, maybe younger than that. Anyway, it just slowly, I had great wisdom, great Bible knowledge, the whole thing. Well, I mean, just sorry about that, guys. When I was married to my husband, and then because he started the cult, I started believing the lies. I questioned. I was a pain in the butt in this cult. But eventually I was just corrected so many times, and I'm always wrong. They always had this incredible thing to say that was just so beyond what I would have expected. And I just began to not ask as many questions. Slowly over the years, I quit asking questions until literally I just said, okay, I'm always wrong. They're always right. I'm just not going to argue anymore. And I just started buying into it.
Like a vegetable.
And I lost myself. I lost my common sense in every way. I didn't have common sense. I didn't have my wisdom. I didn't have the Bible knowledge. It was slipping away. And it was really, really weird. And when I finally realized what was going on, which was a miraculous day in itself, then I started like, oh my gosh, I have been robbed. This is exactly the feeling that I felt. What the whole, like, I knew the Holy Spirit like started telling me something wrong, to bring it long story short. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I had the realization, I've been robbed. Oh my gosh. What am I going to do? Lord, thank you for more joy. Thank you for more peace. Thank you for more, love. Oh my gosh. I don't feel like I love like I used to. What's wrong? Oh my gosh. What is up? That's exactly what happened. Oh. I woke up. And then it was beginning the process of starting over again. I kid you not. I'm still not
trusting yourself again, trusting your thoughts, you have to be around people that say, no, that's exactly right. You were saying, no, that's right. You're just setting a boundary. You're okay,
Yeah. So I had to learn about codependency and setting boundaries and toxic parents and people and relationships and how to be in this world, and so many things that I lost. That I didn't know how to be in the world anymore. Literally, I was just a lost soul who lost her mind. And I had to get my mind back. I had to get my soul back. I had to get my relationship back. I had to learn the tools I've come a long way, and I'm better. I'm sure when you look at it roundabout, I'm better than I ever was. But I don't feel like spiritually, I've had better experiences in some deeper way with God that I'm still beginning to poke into in a way that is beginning to really make me happy. But it's been a long time getting there. And because I think it's because, yes, and that's why, because I felt like I had been betrayed by God for a long time, even though it wasn't his fault. And I would always tell him this to him, I'm like, Lord, I know it's not your fault, but I'm angry with you. And I know it's not your fault. Okay, I get it. And I know you get it, but I still feel this way. I feel betrayed by you, even though I know that it was not you. I was following a false Jesus, a false everything. I get it, but I'm still struggling. And honestly, I started not trusting all kinds of things and all kinds of people. And I began to learn to trust myself. That was the beginning. Dan really helped me with that. That was a very important part of the whole thing. But just beginning to trust people in the universe and people again, it's been a big, huge deal.
A lot of repair work.
Yeah, a lot of repair work. But anyway, it's meant to be. I don't hesitate to think that this is all meant to be, every single last bit of it. I'm going to be a better person for it, more compassionate, more loving, less judgmental. Oh, there's so many good things coming out of this. And it had what my old structure needed to fall apart before the new one could be built properly. And that's what I came to realize that needed to be done. And that's a lot of work. I mean, literally, God has to break the structure down in your boxes and start over and set a proper foundation on truth and on proper tools and proper ways of being in life and proper ways in relationships, which has to do with learning about what codependency is and how to be in a relationship with people and how to say no and how to get your voice and all these things that you have to learn. And if you don't learn them, then guess what? You're plain old dysfunctional in this world and you don't feel good in it. And you just feel ramrodded because you don't have the tools. So I at least got the tools, and I'm coming down the road, and Dan too. Same thing. You had to get all these tools and let go of all these things.
And all the while, everybody's trying to pull you back into their cult.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
My family was trying to pull me back. Are you coming back to Jehovah?
Yeah, mine too.
You know, are you going to come into Angela's religion with her mother or father? Are you going to be a Seventh-day Adventist or not? What are you going to do? Yeah, you know, so you have all these people tugging at you. You're going to be a Christian. You're going to be, you know, well, I'm spiritual, and you know, a million things trying to pull you every way. But unless you make that truth your own, unless you say, you know, I'm going to find out for my damn self. I'm going to find out for me because I'm not blaming anybody anymore. I don't want Angela to follow me. I don't want to follow Angela. You know, we've got to figure it out for ourselves. I don't want to blame her and say, well, she led me astray or her to blame me. No. You make your truth your own. You carry your load. I'll carry my load. And that's everybody.
You have to respect
I don't want to be somebody's guru or whatever. You know what I mean? You figure it out for yourself. You have to now. Because once you come out, you've got to sort things out again. You know, do you want to believe in God again? Do you want to try it again? Do you want to try Christianity? You want to be an atheist for a while? Whatever it is. You're free to do whatever you want to do. But in the end, now you're going to be responsible, you know, for what it is.
Dan and I were not always as, you know, seeing things in a similar way as we are now. We were far apart.
Oh, yeah.
And we allowed that for each other. Mostly. I mean, you know, it's not always easy. Sometimes it's very frustrating. For me and it was for Dan. And then, you know, we just both had to kind of meet in the middle a lot of the time. And it's been a long journey. It's not like this was always peaches and cream for us. It wasn't. It was difficult. But we grew together in respect. And that was an important part. Respect is so important. We respect each other. Anyway,
and understand too, you know.
I know we've been on too long. I'm sorry, guys. We've been rambling on. We hope you don't mind.
But anyway, we just wanted to share that with you. Check out that movie. What's it called? Escaping Twin Flames, Twin Flames University, whichever. It's on Netflix.
It is called Escaping Twin Flames, and the university is called Twin Flames University. And I think it's on Michigan now, or at least they're heading that way. That's where they're going.
So we appreciate it, guys. And
by the way, I wanted to tell you. So if you want to know Dan's journey out of the witnesses, I witnessed the shocking insiders.
I woke up. There's like the little lights started coming on, and I started seeing what are these lights and
shocking insider story. And so I witnessed, and it's got a great critics review. Great book. All kinds of authors gave reviews on it. And then my book is Awakening from Unconscious Resentment, Learning to Uncover the Hidden Saboteurs That Are Hindering Your Life and Relationships, and by Angela Clark. So that's my book, and you can get those on Amazon. And of course, Dan's got that let's see, Secret Brainwashing Techniques of Jehovah's Witnesses, 5 Steps to Escaping the Web of JW Indoctrination by Dan Clark. And it's got part of this book, one chapter of it in this book that helps you to get, the tools that you need. Great little book, but it's digital only on
My buddy
Amazon.
did this picture here of all these people
The web.
caught in the web. You get this one on the
It's
back.
crazy.
Guy caught in a web, Watchtower's web. How do I
don't like
escape the
it.
JW web? I know it's
I
crazy.
really don't like it.
But anyway, he's pretty creative.
but
Ron,
anyway,
Ron Lewis.
it's good enough because we don't even have a physical version of it. It's
No.
just digital only.
Yeah, all these
so-
books you can get for a couple dollars.
Yeah, you
on-
can.
on Amazon.
Digital format,
download.
absolutely.
All right, guys, that's it.
All
We
right.
enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Yep. And we're only telling you about the books because we want to help. Okay.
That's right.
We love you guys.
That's right. We don't make nothing off them. We've given more away than we've ever sold. Trust me.
You don't make money on books. Don't think you're going to ever make money on books. You won't.
No.
So
So thanks for tuning in. And like we said, if you like it, subscribe. And also if you like it, pass it on
yeah.
and share it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
All right. Over now.
All right. Over and out. Bye-bye.